Board President, Mr. Gross, and other members of the school board. I come to you speaking, one, as a community activist, longtime member of the community, only since the early 80s. I've been serving on the board with some of you for 4 years. I get hammered with questions all the time. Wherever I go throughout West Contra Costa, I get hammered by questions. What are they doing? What's happening? What's this thing about Mr. Clay? What is that? I was one of the people interviewed by the grand jury, 3 long hours. It was an interesting discussion. We need total, complete transparency to regain the confidence of the voters out in West Contra Costa County. Right now, it's failing. Right now, they say, hell no, I'm not going to vote anymore for anything. How do we regain that transparency? How do we regain that trust? It's total transparency. And I think that we need that in the selection of an attorney. He in no way at all has to have any connections with our school district or with board members. It's got to be totally clean, newborn child. And Ms. Cronenberg, I think with your history with the school board, I think that you need to regain the confidence, and I would suggest, from my own personal opinion, and we're old friends, served on numerous committees together, that you recuse yourself in the selection of any future attorney, so that no one afterwards can say, oh, it's one of Ms. Cronenberg's buddies or friends. So, let the forensic examination continue, independent of the district. Look at everything, and if there's something there, deal with it. Total, complete transparency. That's all. Thank you.
Anton Young here.
I think it's a good plan. I think it's workable. I think it's something that could restore confidence. I have a couple of questions. First, who would be on the subcommittee? Second, could a member of the CBOC be part of that subcommittee? Third, who will write the attorney's scope? And fourth, what would be the timeline?
Valerie Snyder.
I'm just going to read something that I had planned to read before change happened. It's curious, Mr. Groves, that you selected an attorney with connections to Charles Ramsey. One wonders how much Mr. Ramsey is attempting to orchestrate and influence an investigation into his alleged questionable activities in connection with the bond program.
Scotty Smith, I think, is left. Steve Chamberlain is left. Fatima Allen came in and left. Are there others who'd like to speak? Mr. Romero, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want them to fill out a card, or how do you want to do
Anybody
it?
keeps filling out? Bring them up. Go ahead, Mr. Romero.
Thank you. I guess what you're talking about is an RFP and a request for a proposal, and I think that's a good idea. I think that the firm, when they come through, there should be a breakdown of how many hours that they're looking into. But more importantly, I think the firm should relate how the claims made by Mr. Clay relates to the state conflict of interest code. That's what we're looking into. We're trying to figure out whether what Mr. Clay is claiming is where their law is broken. And I think that's why you're hiring an attorney, is to make sure that that attorney can pick out what Mr. Clay is saying and how that's relating to the law or whether the law is broken. I think that forming a subcommittee is good, but I think the most important part right now is to have this all out and open. And if it has to require another special meeting to do that, I think that's an important part of this. And I do agree that there should be a timeline, and that should be formed tonight. The important part is there are other agencies, there are other firms. The firm that represents the city of Hercules, I talked to them today, they're going to be interested in this. And I think there's other ones. There's Keiser, I think. So there are firms that are available, and let's see who's gonna put a bid out. There are people that are unrelated to this school district that are willing to come forward and help out, and I think that's the important part. We wanna find out the claims made by Mr. Claim are valid, and we wanna find out how they relate, where the law's broken, and how we're gonna correct that. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else? Ms. Lozito and then Ms. Hughes?
Okay, I'm concerned because of what just happened, and with my history, I've been watching the district politics for quite a while. I'm concerned about the hiring of an attorney at this point, and what procedures the attorney sets in place. So I'm really concerned about that. And a good forensic auditor, that's my main concern, that a good forensic auditor gets hired. And from the way it's worded, it sounds like the attorney might possibly hinder the process if the attorney is deciding on the scope of the forensic audit. I want the forensic auditor to decide the scope of the audit, and that's really important to me. So I'm going to be looking for, you know, a neutral attorney. I don't even know if you need an attorney, but if you feel you need an attorney. And I want a good auditor. I want like someone has a good reputation, like Moss Adams. VDT, they didn't have a good reputation. They have a reputation for doing very small, skimpy audits. Because I talk with people from the California League of Bond Oversight Committees, and they work with different school districts throughout the state. So I'm just looking for a good auditor. Thank you.
Hi. My question is, with Ms. Block's suggestion, it sounds like you think that 100 lawyers are gonna jump at this job. So all you have to do is put it on the board website. I think you're gonna have to do more than that. Maybe advertise with the California bar or something like that to get more people in your pool to select from.
You don't think all the attorneys read our website, huh? Just joking. Good
That was
point.
just my suggestion.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
Is there anyone else?
Oh, I'd like to
Could
commend
you
Ms.
fill out
Oh,
a
sorry.
card before you go?
Sure.
You can speak now, but fill out one before you go.
Oh, yeah, okay. My name is Paul Hackiso. I've been a member, I'm a district employee. I've also served as 10 years on the Kensington Police Protection and Community Services District Board. And I went through all sorts of wonderful things in my experience. So I'd like to commend the plan that Ms. Block came up with. It's very similar to one that I devised when I had to pick a new police chief. The one difference was that we had actually the candidates make a presentation to the public, so the public had some sense of who they were. So that's something you might also consider. Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon, President Groves, members of the board, district staff. My name is Tom Panis. I live at 7345 Fairmount in El Cerrito. I'd like to thank the board for doing this and thinking about it thoughtfully. I like the plan that you put into place, and I just want you to cast as wide a net as possible in looking for people. Thank you so much.
And Hughes?
Okay, great. Any more board question or comments about you?
We didn't really talk about how to get people, let people, how do we cast our net? Is that what you're gonna refer to also?
Well, yeah,
Mr.
that's
Hicks?
partially that. Let me take just a couple of seconds with this. This is a work in progress. If everybody's engaged on the positive side, we should be able to move ahead with this. This is not easy, okay? It's particularly not easy as we're trying to make sure we've got school ready to run the first week in August as well. So timeline, somebody brought that up earlier, timeline is critical with this, okay? I don't know that we hadn't really agreed yet, but we will have more information at the next board meeting that is solid and let us understand how we can all participate, I believe. And that's the general gist of what one of the things we discussed. But I think this is a good start to to doing what we need to do, and that is to bring back the public's faith in what we're doing. And there's nothing, very little more important than that right now with all of the people that care. We're also gonna bring in people that right now don't know that they should care. So we're gonna work with that as well. I'm pretty heartened that this was an improvement in terms of where we want to go. Okay, so thank you for being here. That's one thing I'd really like to say.